At an elite high school where money and reputation rule the halls, a pack of bullies never expect consequences. When they target a quiet black girl who keeps her head down and her shirt crisp white, they see only vulnerability, someone easy to humiliate and control. But what they can't see is the fire forged by years of struggle, or the MMA training that lives beneath her calm. When a so-called prank turns violent, she faces a choice: back down or fight for her dignity. They picked the wrong target. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from and make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. The final bell's harsh ring echoed through Willoughby High's halls. Ayanna Johnson adjusted her white button-up shirt and gripped her backpack straps tightly. Around her, students rushed past in a blur of excitement and chatter, their weekend plans already in full swing. She kept her head high, but her eyes forward, moving with purpose through the crowd. A group of freshmen bumped into her, not even bothering to apologize. Ayanna had learned long ago that being one of the few black students at Willoughby meant becoming expert at navigating both the physical and social spaces with careful precision. The main hallway was packed as usual, filled with red varsity jackets and designer bags. Ayanna turned left, heading for her preferred exit behind the school. The noise faded as she walked down the quieter corridor, past unused lockers covered in peeling blue paint. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A small smile crossed her face as she saw her mother's name on the screen. "Hi, Mom," Ayanna answered, her voice softening. "Baby, don't forget we're having dinner with Aunt Marie tonight," her mother's warm voice came through. "She wants to hear all about your college applications." Ayanna nodded, though her mother couldn't see it. "I know. I've got my essay draft ready to show her. The Georgetown deadline is coming up fast." "That's my girl." Her mother paused. "You know how proud I am of you, right? Working so hard for that scholarship?" The weight of their shared dreams pressed against Ayanna's chest. Her mother had been working double shifts at the hospital for years to give her every opportunity. A scholarship wasn't just about college. It was about breaking cycles. "I know, Mom. I'm going to make it happen." Ayanna's voice was firm with determination. "You always do. Be home by 5, okay? Love you. Love you too." Ayanna slipped her phone back into her pocket as she pushed open the heavy metal door leading to the back of the school. The autumn air was crisp, carrying the scent of dried leaves and distant smoke. This route took her past the dumpsters and old bleachers, but it was worth it to avoid the crowded front entrance where groups of students usually lingered, looking for drama or trouble. The gravel crunched under her feet as she walked, her mind already on her college essay. She'd written about her martial arts training, about finding strength in discipline and peace in power. What she hadn't written about was how those same skills made her feel safe in a school where she often felt anything but. A burst of laughter broke through her thoughts. Ahead, near the rusty dumpsters, stood a group of students she knew all too well. Tyler Prescott's tall frame leaned against the metal container, his red varsity jacket bright against the dirty green paint. Madison Cole stood close to him, her cheerleader uniform pristine despite the grimy surroundings. Dylan Price and Connor Davis flanked them like guards, all wearing matching jackets and smirks. They whispered to each other, heads bent together, but their eyes were fixed on Ayanna. Madison held her phone at hip level, trying to be subtle about recording. Tyler's usual charming smile was replaced with something darker, more anticipatory. Ayanna's steps slowed. Years of training had taught her to read body language, to sense threat before it manifested. Every instinct told her this wasn't a random gathering. The way they spread out, subtly blocking the narrow path between the dumpster and the chain-link fence. The way Connor's hands kept clenching and unclenching. The way Dylan bounced slightly on his toes, barely containing his excitement. She could turn around, find another way, but that would mean letting them win. letting them claim this space, too. Ayanna thought of her mother's pride, of all the small indignities she'd swallowed over the years, of the scholarship that promised a future beyond all this. Her spine straightened. She kept walking, her pace measured and deliberate. The gravel seemed to crunch louder with each step. Madison's phone followed her movement. Tyler pushed himself off the dumpster, his smile widening as Ayanna drew closer. The air grew thick with tension. Ayanna could feel her heart beating steady and strong, her body relaxed, but ready, just as she'd been taught. She saw Tyler's eyes flick to Connor, saw Madison adjust her grip on her phone for a better angle. They had positioned themselves perfectly, Tyler and Connor in front, Madison and Dylan slightly behind, forming a loose circle that would close as soon as she entered it. It was a practiced move, one they'd probably used before on other students who took this lonely route. But they didn't know about her years of MMA training, about the power coiled beneath her careful calm. They saw what they wanted to see, a quiet black girl, alone and vulnerable. Their mistake. As Ayanna approached the group, Tyler stepped directly into her path, his 6-foot frame casting a shadow over her. "Hey, Johnson, leaving so soon?" His voice dripped with fake friendliness. "We were just talking about you." Ayanna kept her expression neutral, though her muscles tensed. "I need to get home." Madison circled to her left, phone still recording. "What's the rush? Got another scholarship essay to write?" She drew out the word scholarship like it was something dirty. "Must be nice," Dylan chimed in, moving to block Ayanna's other side. "Getting all those special opportunities." Ayanna took a slow breath, just like her sensei had taught her. "Center yourself. Stay calm." She tried to step around Tyler, but he shifted with her, maintaining the blockade. "I said, I need to get home." Her voice was firm, but controlled. Connor's laugh was sharp and ugly. Listen to her trying to sound all proper. "Bet that's how you fool all those college admissions people, right?" Speaking of fooling people, Madison stepped closer, her phone now openly recording. "What's with the hair today? Trying to look more professional?" She reached out as if to touch Ayanna's carefully styled hair. Ayanna jerked back, bumping into Dylan, who had crept up behind her. The circle was complete now. Her heart rate picked up, but she kept her breathing steady. "Don't touch me," Ayanna said, her voice low but clear. "Any of you." Tyler's smile widened, showing too many teeth. "Or what? You'll report us?" He grabbed her arm, his fingers digging into her skin. "Come on, we're just having some fun. Isn't that what all those diversity seminars are about? Coming together?" The others laughed. Madison zoomed in with her phone, capturing Ayanna's face. "Maybe we should help her practice for those scholarship interviews. What do you think, guys?" "Yeah, tell us about your struggles," Dylan mocked, making air quotes. "About how hard it is being so special." Ayanna tried to pull her arm free, but Tyler's grip tightened. She could break his hold. She knew exactly how. But she also knew what would happen if she did. They'd twist it, like they always did. Make her the aggressor. "Let go," she said, her voice steady despite the anger building in her chest. "Now!" Connor stepped closer, his bulk adding to the intimidation. "Or what? You'll call your daddy?" His smile turned cruel. "Oh, wait." The words hit like a physical blow. Ayanna's free hand clenched into a fist, then slowly released. Don't give them what they want. Don't give them an excuse. "Aw, look, we made her mad," Madison cooed, her phone capturing every moment. "Don't worry, this'll make great content for the school board meeting. You know, when they review those scholarship recommendations?" Tyler's grip shifted up to Ayanna's shoulder, his touch deceptively casual but threatening. "We're just trying to help you understand your place here, Johnson. Nothing personal." "My place." The words came out before she could stop them. "Yeah, your place. Tyler's voice hardened. Because some of us actually earned our spots here. Our families built this school. And we're getting a little tired of people like you acting like you deserve something just because. Ayanna twisted away from his grip, using a basic escape technique but careful not to hurt him. I earned everything I have. The circle tightened. Madison's smile turned vicious. Did you hear that, guys? She thinks she earned it. Let's show her what earning something really means, Connor said, cracking his knuckles. It happened fast. Tyler's arm shot out, wrapping around her neck from behind. Not a practiced martial arts hold, but a bully's chokehold, meant to humiliate and hurt. The others cheered as he lifted her slightly off her feet. Smile for the camera, Johnson, Madison laughed, moving closer with her phone. Panic flared in Ayanna's chest as the pressure increased. The hold was sloppy but effective. Her vision started to blur at the edges. She could hear their laughter, see Madison's phone pointed at her face, catch glimpses of the others' excited expressions. The pressure increased. Tyler's arm tightened, cutting off more air. Her lungs burned. Through the growing haze, she saw Dylan mimicking her struggles for the camera while Connor egged Tyler on. Madison's face filled her narrowing vision, phone held high to capture every moment of her humiliation. Dark spots danced in front of her eyes. The training part of her brain screamed out escape techniques, but fear and lack of oxygen made everything fuzzy. Her feet barely touched the ground as Tyler adjusted his grip, laughing at her increasingly desperate attempts to breathe. Can't breathe, Tyler taunted, his breath hot against her ear. Maybe you should tap out. The words triggered something deep in Ayanna's memory. Suddenly, she was back in the gym, 6 months ago, trapped in a similar hold during sparring practice. Her coach's voice cut through the fog of memory, clear as day. Your breath is your life, Ayanna. Never let anyone control it. Remember your training. The memory crystallized, bringing with it years of muscle memory and countless hours of practice. Time seemed to slow as her training kicked in. She could feel every point of contact between Tyler's arm and her neck, could sense the flaws in his amateur hold. Behind the school's back door, Ms. Patel stepped out for her usual afternoon break, a stack of papers tucked under her arm. The sharp sound of laughter drew her attention, and she turned to see the group clustered by the dumpsters. Her eyes widened as she recognized the scene unfolding. Ayanna's fingers found their target, the pressure points along Tyler's forearm. With precision born from hundreds of repetitions, she dug in hard. Tyler's grip loosened for a fraction of a second. All she needed. She dropped her weight, creating space between his arm and her throat. What the? Tyler started, but Ayanna was already moving. She twisted her body, using Tyler's own momentum against him. Her hip turned, her hands gripped his arm, and suddenly Tyler was airborne. He landed hard on his back, the impact driving the air from his lungs with a satisfying whoosh. Madison's phone wavered, her confident smirk replaced by shock. Tyler! But Ayanna wasn't finished. As Connor rushed her, she sidestepped smoothly, redirecting his charge with a simple shoulder throw. He sprawled face first onto the asphalt, skidding to a stop near the dumpster. Dylan backed away, hands raised. Hey, wait! Ayanna advanced, her movements controlled and precise. Every technique was defensive, measured, exactly as she'd been trained. When Dylan swung wildly, she blocked, trapped his arm, and used his own force to send him tumbling. Madison's phone clattered to the ground as she tried to run. Ayanna caught her wrist, not to hurt, just to hold. Delete it, Ayanna said, her voice rough from the chokehold but steady. I can't, Madison stammered. Ayanna applied the slightest pressure to Madison's wrist. A reminder, not a threat. Delete it. With trembling fingers, Madison picked up her phone and erase the video. From her position near the door, Ms. Patel watched in astonishment. The quiet student she knew from chemistry class moved with the skill of a trained fighter, each movement precise and controlled. More importantly, she saw the restraint in Ayana's actions, no excessive force, no unnecessary aggression. Tyler groaned, rolling onto his side. His varsity jacket was covered in dirt, his carefully styled hair disheveled. "You're crazy," he gasped. But the fear in his voice betrayed his bravado. Connor and Dylan helped each other up, keeping their distance from Ayana. Their earlier confidence had evaporated, replaced by wary respect and more than a little fear. Ayana stood in the center of the scattered group, her chest heaving as she caught her breath. Her white button-up shirt was rumpled but intact, her stance relaxed but ready. The same quiet strength that had always been there now showed clearly on the surface. "Don't," she said simply, when Tyler opened his mouth to speak. "Just don't." Ayana remained still, letting her breathing return to normal. Her hand touched her throat where Tyler's arm had been, the skin tender but not seriously injured. The familiar calm of post-training settled over her, the clarity that came after successfully executing difficult techniques. Her mother's voice echoed in her head. "Sometimes standing up for yourself means showing people exactly who you are." Ms. Patel stepped forward from her position by the door, her presence finally registering to Ayana. Their eyes met across the distance, the teachers filled with concern and something like admiration, Ayana's still focused and resolute. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the pavement, highlighting the scuff marks where bodies had hit the ground. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves around the dumpster, the only sound in the sudden quiet. The moment stretched between them, heavy with unspoken understanding. Whispers rippled through the air as students began emerging from the gym's side door. The sound of running feet and excited voices grew louder, drawing more attention to the scene behind the school. Phones appeared in hands, recording the aftermath. Madison recovered first, her shock transforming into calculated fury. She clutched her phone to her chest, tears welling up in her eyes as she backed away from Ayana. "She just attacked us!" Madison's voice cracked with practiced distress. "We were just walking, and she went crazy." Ms. Patel hurried forward, her heels clicking against the pavement. "That's not what I saw." "Look what she did to Tyler!" Madison cut her off, gesturing dramatically at her boyfriend, who was still brushing dirt from his varsity jacket. The growing crowd of students pressed closer, phones raised, capturing every moment. Tyler, reading Madison's cue perfectly, winced and grabbed his shoulder. "We didn't do anything to her," he groaned, playing up his supposed injuries. "She just went psycho on us." Ayana's throat tightened, not from the earlier chokehold, but from the familiar weight of injustice. She watched as the truth twisted before her eyes, reshaped by Madison's tears and Tyler's performance. The crowd grew larger, their whispers becoming a steady buzz of judgment. "I saw her flip Tyler." "Just out of nowhere?" "Always knew she was weird." "Someone call security." Ms. Patel stepped between Ayana and the others, her voice carrying authority despite her small frame. "Everyone needs to step back right now. I witnessed—" "She attacked us first," Connor interrupted, finding his courage in the growing crowd. "Madison has it all on video." Madison's fingers flew across her phone screen. Ayana's stomach dropped, as she realized Madison must have been secretly recording even before she'd ordered the first video deleted. The cheerleader's face lit up with vindictive triumph. "See?" Madison thrust her phone toward the nearest students. "Look what she did to us." The video showed only the end, Ayana executing her defensive moves, but none of the provocation that led to it. The careful editing cut out Tyler's chokehold completely, starting instead with Ayana's counterattack. "That's not what happened," Ayana said, her voice steady despite the growing knot in her chest. "They attacked me first. Tyler had me in a chokehold." "Liar!" Madison shrieked, her performance perfectly calibrated to draw sympathy. "We have proof. You're just trying to cover up what you did." The crowd of students pressed closer, their phones capturing every moment of the unfolding drama. Ayanna felt the familiar weight of their stares, heavier now with judgment and fear. She'd seen this before. How quickly truth could be buried under a carefully crafted lie. Ms. Patel raised her voice over the growing chaos. "Everyone needs to stop recording right now. This situation—" The heavy door to the school slammed open, and Officer Reynolds, the school resource officer, emerged with his hand on his radio. His presence sent a ripple through the crowd, students automatically stepping back to make way. "What's going on out here?" His hand rested casually on his belt as he surveyed the scene. His gaze lingered on Ayanna, and she saw the assumptions forming behind his eyes. Madison launched into her version before anyone else could speak. "She attacked us, Officer Reynolds. We have it on video. Tyler's hurt, and she—" "That's not true," Ms. Patel interjected firmly. "I saw." "Everyone to the principal's office," Officer Reynolds commanded, cutting off further discussion. "Now." The walk through the school corridors felt endless. Students lined the halls, phones still recording despite teachers' half-hearted attempts to stop them. Ayanna kept her head high, even as she heard the whispers following her like shadows. "Principal Carter will want to see that video," Officer Reynolds said to Madison, who clutched her phone like a weapon. In the main office, Ayanna sat rigid in one of the hard plastic chairs. The secretary's fingers clacked against her keyboard, presumably calling parents. Tyler and his friends huddled together near the window, shooting glances at Ayanna while whispering among themselves. "Miss Sue." Patel stood by Ayanna's chair, a silent but steady presence. "I'm not leaving until I can give my statement," she said, when the secretary suggested she return to her classroom. The minutes crawled by like hours. Ayanna's phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from her mother saying she was on her way. The knot in her stomach tightened. They couldn't afford any problems, not with college applications pending and rent always tight. Madison's parents arrived first, her father in an expensive suit, her mother wearing tennis whites. They swept in like royalty, demanding immediate attention. Tyler's father wasn't far behind, the school board president himself, his presence filling the small office with an air of authority. Ayanna sat straighter, her hands folded in her lap to hide their trembling. She could feel the weight of the system aligning against her, could see it in the way the secretary straightened when Tyler's father entered, in the way Officer Reynolds deferred to him immediately. The door to Principal Carter's office opened, and his secretary gestured for everyone to enter. Ayanna remained seated, waiting for her mother, feeling the full weight of what was coming. She watched as Madison smirked over her shoulder, phone held high like a trophy, before disappearing into the office. Principal Carter's office felt smaller than usual, crowded with bodies and heavy with tension. Ayanna sat beside her empty chair, waiting for her mother, while Tyler and his friends clustered together on the opposite side. Their parents stood behind them like a wall of expensive suits and designer clothes. Ms. Patel positioned herself near Ayanna's chair, her presence a small comfort in the hostile room. Madison kept glancing at her phone, thumb hovering over the screen, ready to present her manufactured evidence. "Let's address this situation promptly," Principal Carter began, his hands folded on his desk. "We have a serious incident of violence on school grounds." "My daughter was attacked," Madison's father interrupted, his voice sharp with practiced outrage. "We have video evidence." "Please, let's see this video everyone keeps mentioning," Principal Carter said, nodding to Madison. Madison stepped forward, triumphant. "I recorded everything," she said, her voice trembling with fake distress. "We were just walking, And she pressed play. The edited video filled the screen of Madison's phone. It showed only the end of the confrontation, Ayanna executing her defensive moves, but none of the lead-up. The footage was carefully cut to make it appear unprovoked. As you can see, Tyler's father, Mr. Prescott, spoke with the authority of his position as school board president. This was a clear attack on multiple students. Connor nodded eagerly. She just went crazy. We weren't doing anything. That's not true, Ayanna said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. They cornered me behind the school. Tyler put me in a chokehold. That's ridiculous, Tyler cut in, still playing up his supposed injuries. Why would I do that? I saw what happened, Ms. Patel stepped forward. I witnessed Tyler restraining Ayanna. Mr. Prescott turned to her, his smile cold. From how far away, Ms. Patel? And at what angle? Were you in a position to see clearly? I was right there, Ms. Patel insisted. I saw. It seems your view of the situation was unclear, Principal Carter interrupted smoothly. And we have video evidence that shows. The office door opened, and Ayanna's mother rushed in, still wearing her work uniform. I'm so sorry I'm late, she said, slightly out of breath. Traffic was terrible. What's happening? Is Ayanna okay? Mrs. Johnson, Principal Carter gestured to the empty chair. Please, have a seat. We're discussing a serious incident of violence involving your daughter. Ayanna's mother sat down, reaching for Ayanna's hand. Violence? That doesn't sound like my daughter at all. We have video evidence, Madison's mother spoke up, her tennis bracelet catching the fluorescent light as she gestured. Your daughter attacked several students without provocation. That's not what happened, Ayanna repeated, squeezing her mother's hand. They surrounded me. They were recording and taunting me, and Tyler grabbed me. The video clearly shows otherwise, Principal Carter cut in. And given the severity of this unprovoked attack, we have no choice but to suspend Ayanna for 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Ayanna's mother protested. But what about the others? If they were involved, Tyler, Madison, Dylan, and Connor will serve detention for their part in the altercation, Principal Carter said dismissively. But the video evidence clearly shows who escalated this to violence. This is completely unfair, Ms. Patel objected. I saw what really happened. Thank you, Ms. Patel. Principal Carter's tone was final. That will be all. You can return to your classroom now. Ms. Patel hesitated, looking at Ayanna with helpless frustration before reluctantly leaving the office. The remaining adults discussed the terms of Ayanna's suspension, while Madison and her friends exchanged subtle smirks. The drive home was silent. Ayanna stared out the window, watching familiar streets pass by as her mother gripped the steering wheel too tightly. Neither of them spoke during dinner, pushing food around their plates in the quiet kitchen. Ayanna was in her room, sitting on her bed, and staring at her wall of academic achievements, when she heard her mother's phone ring. Through the thin walls, she could hear every word of the conversation. Yes, this is Mrs. Johnson. What? No. There must be some mistake. What complaints? We've never had any issues before. Please, we've always paid our rent on time. Can we discuss this? Hello? Ayanna's hands clenched into fists as she heard her mother's phone hit the kitchen table, followed by a muffled sob. The walls suddenly felt like they were closing in, the weight of injustice pressing down on her shoulders. She could picture Tyler and his friends laughing, celebrating their victory, confident in their power to hurt without consequences. But as she sat there, surrounded by her certificates and honor roll awards, something? The next morning, Ayanna's alarm buzzed at 5:30 a.m., though she was already awake. She hadn't slept much, her mind replaying yesterday's events on an endless loop. Her neck still ached where Tyler's arm had pressed against it. a reminder that made her hands shake with both anger and determination. She got up quietly, not wanting to wake her mother, who had tossed and turned all night too. In the dim light of her bedroom, Ayanna opened her laptop and started typing. The screen's glow illuminated her face as she searched through old-school newspapers, social media posts, and local news articles about Willoughby High. Her phone buzzed. It was Marcus. "You're up early," she texted. "Couldn't sleep. Heard what happened. You okay?" "No. But I'm done being quiet about it. Meet me before first period? Main entrance?" "Can't. Suspended for 2 weeks." There was a long pause before Marcus replied. "What? Call me. Now." Ayanna slipped on her headphones and clicked the call button. Marcus answered immediately. "Tell me everything," he said, his voice tight with concern. Ayanna took a deep breath and explained what had happened behind the school, her voice catching as she described Tyler's chokehold and the edited video. "They made it look like I attacked them for no reason, Marcus. And Principal Carter he didn't even listen." "Of course he didn't," Marcus said bitterly. "Tyler's dad basically owns the school board. But there has to be something we can do. The real video has to exist somewhere. Madison has it, but she'll never share it." Ayanna scrolled through another article about Willoughby High's excellent academic environment. "Maybe not willingly," Marcus said thoughtfully, "but I might be able to help with that. I've been working on some new coding projects." Marcus Reed, "Are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?" "I'm suggesting we fight smart," he said. "Look, this isn't just about you. I've heard whispers about other incidents, other students who've been bullied and silenced." Ayanna sat up straighter. "I found something about that. 3 years ago, a Hispanic student tried to report harassment. The complaint mysteriously disappeared, and her family moved away a month later." "That's what they want," Marcus said. "They want people to give up and go away. But you're not going anywhere, are you?" "No," Ayanna said firmly. "I'm not." She heard Marcus typing in the background. "I'm looking at the school's public records now. Did you know they've had 4 different vice principals in 5 years? Each one left suddenly, no explanation." "Send me what you find," Ayanna said, opening a new document. "I'm starting a timeline." They spent the next hour trading information, building a clearer picture of Willoughby High's darker side. Patterns emerged. Complaints that vanished, students who transferred, teachers who left abruptly. "This is bigger than just Tyler and his friends," Marcus said. "It's systematic. They've been covering things up for years." Ayanna heard her mother stirring in the other room. "I have to go." "But Marcus, I need your help with this. I can't let them get away with it anymore." "You know I've got your back," Marcus said. "Always have, always will. But we need to be careful. These people have power, and they're not afraid to use it." "I know. That eviction threat wasn't a coincidence." "My house is safe," Marcus said. "My parents are at work until late. Come over after school hours. We can set up base there. Start gathering real evidence. Your mom won't mind?" "Are you kidding? Mom's been saying for years that somebody needs to stand up to the Prescotts. She'll probably bake us cookies while we work." That made Ayanna smile for the first time since yesterday. "Thanks, Marcus. Really." "Don't thank me yet. This is going to be hard. We're going up against people who are used to winning." "Then maybe it's time they learned how to lose," Ayanna said, her voice steady. "I'll bring everything I've found so far. And Marcus, be careful at school today. Watch your back. Always do. See you at 4? 4 o'clock, Ayanna confirmed. We'll start building our case." She ended the call and looked at her wall of achievements again. This time, instead of feeling defeated, she felt a surge of purpose. Each certificate, each award, was proof that she belonged at Willoughby High, that she had earned her place. No amount of bullying or threats could take that away. Her mother appeared in the doorway, already dressed for work. "You're up early," she said softly. "Couldn't sleep," Ayana replied. "Mom, I'm going to Marcus's house later. We have a project to work on." Her mother nodded, understanding in her eyes. "Just be home for dinner." She paused. "And Ayana? Whatever you're planning, be careful." "I will," Ayana promised. "I'm not going to do anything wrong. I'm just going to expose what's already wrong." Her mother smiled sadly. Sometimes that's the most dangerous thing of all. The walk to Marcus's house felt longer than usual. Ayana kept looking over her shoulder, hyper-aware of every passing car. She carried her laptop in her backpack, along with a notebook filled with her morning research. The afternoon sun beat down on her shoulders as she finally reached Marcus's front porch. Marcus opened the door before she could knock. "Come on in. I've already started mapping out connections on my computer." Ayana followed him to the kitchen, where his laptop sat surrounded by snacks and empty soda cans. True to his word, his mom had left them a plate of chocolate chip cookies. "First things first," Marcus said, pulling up a spreadsheet. "I made a list of names. Students who left suddenly or transferred in the past 2 years. There's a pattern." Ayana leaned in, scanning the screen. "How did you get this information?" "School newspaper archives. I write for them, remember? Plus, the yearbook committee keeps pretty detailed records." He pointed to a name. "Look at this one, Elijah Carter. He was top of his class freshman year, then suddenly went quiet, started missing school. His grades dropped. Now he works at the grocery store after school and barely talks to anyone." "I remember him," Ayana said softly. "He used to answer all the questions in biology. Then one day he just stopped." Marcus nodded. "I saw him this morning. He was watching when Tyler and his friends were laughing about your suspension in the hallway. The look on his face. I think he knows something." Ayana pulled out her phone. "The grocery store's just a few blocks away. Should we go talk to him?" "Already texted him," Marcus said. "He gets off work at 5, said he'd meet us here." While they waited, they sorted through the information they'd gathered. Ms. Patel had slipped Ayana an envelope during their brief encounter that morning, filled with copies of old incident reports and email exchanges. "Look at this," Ayana said, spreading out the papers. 3 years ago, Ms. Patel reported Tyler for harassing a student in her class. The complaint vanished, and she got called in for a performance review." Marcus whistled low. "No wonder she's being careful now. But she's still helping." The doorbell rang at exactly 5 o'clock. Elijah Carter stood on the porch, still in his work uniform, his shoulders hunched as if trying to make himself smaller. "Come in," Marcus said warmly. "Want a cookie?" "My mom made them." Elijah managed a small smile and took one, perching nervously on the edge of a kitchen chair. "I can't stay long. My mom's expecting me home." "We understand," Ayana said gently. "We just want to hear your story. If you're willing to tell it." Elijah was quiet for a long moment, crumbling the cookie between his fingers. "It started sophomore year," he finally said. "I got the highest score on a math test. Tyler didn't like that. He and his friends started small, knocking books out of my hands, accidentally, spilling drinks on my homework." His voice grew quieter. "Then they found out my dad was sick, that we were struggling with medical bills. They started spreading rumors that I was selling drugs to pay for his treatment, left threatening notes in my locker. My car got vandalized in the school parking lot." "Did you report it?" Marcus asked, though they all knew the answer. 3 times, Elijah said bitterly. Each time the complaints disappeared. The vice principal said there wasn't enough evidence. Then Tyler's dad showed up at my house one evening, talking about how he'd heard about my father's medical situation, how tragic it would be if my dad lost his insurance coverage. Ayana felt sick. "They threatened your father's health care?" Elijah nodded. The next day, I dropped all my advanced classes, stopped participating. It was easier to disappear than to fight. But you're here now, Marcus said. Why? Because I saw what they did to you, Ayanna. And what happened after? It's the same pattern, the same threats. Someone needs to stop them. He pulled out his phone. I kept everything. The threatening texts, pictures of the vandalism, recordings of conversations. I was too scared to use them before, but we'll protect your identity, Ayanna promised. We're gathering evidence, building a case. There have to be others. There are, Elijah said. Maria Rodriguez. Her family moved away last year after similar threats. Jason Kim switched schools after his parents' restaurant started getting bad health inspection reports out of nowhere. I can give you their contact information. As they talked, more pieces fell into place. Marcus documented everything while Ayanna and Elijah compared experiences, finding disturbing similarities in how the bullying escalated and how the system protected the perpetrators. Through the kitchen window, Ayanna noticed a red car driving past Marcus's house for the third time. She recognized Madison in the passenger seat, phone raised as if taking pictures. They're watching, she said quietly. Marcus and Elijah followed her gaze just as the car passed again, slower this time. They know we're gathering evidence, Marcus said. They're not even trying to hide their intimidation anymore. Elijah stood up, his face pale. I should go, but I want to help. Just tell me what you need. Your story is enough for now, Ayanna assured him. We'll be in touch when we have a solid plan. After Elijah left, Ayanna and Marcus watched the red car make another pass. We need to work faster, Marcus said. They're getting nervous. Ayanna nodded, her jaw set with determination. Good. They should be. The hallways of Willoughby High felt different now. Students whispered as Ayanna passed, some offering sympathetic glances, others quickly looking away. She kept her head high, though her heart raced every time she approached her locker. Today, a small piece of paper fluttered to the ground when she opened it. The handwriting was deliberately messy. Keep digging, and you'll regret it. Ayanna's hands trembled slightly as she crumpled the note and stuffed it into her pocket. The fourth one this week. Another one? Marcus appeared beside her, his voice low. Dark circles under his eyes betrayed his exhaustion. Yeah. You okay? You look tired. Marcus pulled out his phone, showing her his social media notifications. Hundreds of hostile comments flooded his latest posts, many from anonymous accounts. They've been at it all night, calling me a traitor, threatening to teach me a lesson. Someone even posted my home address. Marcus, that's serious. We should... What? Tell the principal? The police? His bitter laugh echoed in the nearly empty hallway. You saw how they handled your assault. They don't care. The morning dragged on. In chemistry, Tyler and his friends made a show of discussing weekend plans loudly enough for Ayanna to hear. Plans that involved taking care of some problems. Madison kept her phone pointed in Ayanna's direction, smirking. At lunch, Ayanna called her mother. Baby, are you okay? Her mother's voice was strained with worry. I'm fine, Mom. Just checking in. How are things at work? A pause. The landlord called again. Said he's getting more complaints about disturbances. I tried explaining about the bullying, but... She sighed heavily. Don't you worry about it. Focus on your studies. We'll figure something out. That evening, Ayanna pushed through the doors of Kingdom MMA Gym. The familiar smell of sweat and leather wrapping around her like a comfort blanket. Coach Rivera nodded as she wrapped her hands. Heard about what happened at school, he said, holding the heavy bag steady. Remember what I taught you about fear? Ayanna threw a combination of punches, each one sharper than the last. Fear is just energy waiting to be used. That's right. Channel it. Control it. He adjusted her stance slightly. But don't let it control you. For 2 hours, Ayanna lost herself in the rhythm of training. Jab, cross, hook, sprawl, sweep, mount. Each movement helped clear her mind, rebuild her confidence. Other fighters stopped to watch her work, impressed by her intensity. "You're getting stronger," Coach Rivera said, as she finished her final round, both inside and out. Ayanna smiled, unwrapping her hands. "Thanks, Coach. I needed this today. Anyone gives you trouble. You know we've got your back here." He gestured around at the other fighters, many of whom nodded in agreement. "This is your sanctuary." The walk home was dark, but peaceful. Ayanna felt centered, her muscles pleasantly sore. The stress of the day had melted away under the physical exertion. She was 3 houses away from home when she heard the crash. Her mother stood on their front lawn, phone in hand, staring at their living room window. Shattered glass glittered on the carpet inside. A brick lay among the fragments, a paper wrapped around it with rubber bands. "Mom!" Ayanna ran to her. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. I was in the kitchen when it happened." Her mother's voice shook. "I've called the police." Ayanna carefully picked up the brick, unwrapping the note. The same messy handwriting. "Last warning. Back off, or worse is coming." 2 police cars arrived with their lights off. The officers seemed more annoyed than concerned, barely glancing at the brick or note. "Probably just kids playing pranks," one officer said, not even bothering to take out his notepad. "Kids playing pranks?" Ayanna's mother's voice rose. "They threw a brick through our window. We're being threatened." The second officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am, unless you have concrete evidence of who did this." "What about the note?" Ayanna held it out. "It's connected to what's been happening at school. Tyler Prescott and his friends—" "The Prescott boy?" The first officer's tone changed. "Judge Prescott's grandson? Look, young lady, those are serious accusations. Better be careful about throwing around names like that without proof." "But we have proof. We've been gathering evidence of—" "Ayanna." Her mother's hand gripped her arm. "Thank you, officers. We'll board up the window tonight." The police left without filing a report. Ayanna helped her mother sweep up the glass, both working in tense silence. The cool night air drifted through the broken window, carrying with it a sense of violation and vulnerability. "Maybe we should stop," her mother finally said, voice barely above a whisper. "Your safety is more important than—" "No." Ayanna's voice was firm. "That's what they want. They want us scared, want us to give up. But I won't. We can't." Her mother pulled her into a tight hug, and Ayanna felt her trembling. "I'm proud of you," she whispered. "So proud. But I'm also terrified." The next morning felt heavier than usual at Willoughby High. Ayanna walked through the halls with her shoulders tense, scanning faces and corners. The broken window at home had left her with little sleep, dark circles shadowing her eyes. Marcus wasn't at their usual meeting spot before first period. Her texts went unanswered. By lunch, worry gnawed at her stomach. The cafeteria buzzed with its usual chaos. Ayanna stood in line, phone in hand, trying Marcus again. That's when she heard the commotion outside, muffled thuds and voices from the service corridor. Her heart dropped. She knew. Pushing through the double doors, Ayanna froze. Tyler and 3 of his friends surrounded Marcus, who was curled against the wall. His glasses lay broken nearby. Tyler's Letterman jacket stood out bright red in the dim hallway. "Stop!" Ayanna's voice echoed off the concrete walls. Tyler turned, that familiar smirk playing across his face. "Just having a chat with your friend here. Teaching him about loyalty." Marcus groaned, trying to push himself up. A darkening bruise bloomed around his left eye. "Get away from him." Ayanna's hands clenched into fists, her MMA training screaming at her to act. But she remembered the suspension, her mother's fears, the brick through their window. Or what? Tyler stepped closer. You'll attack me again? Go ahead. My father's lawyer would love that. Madison appeared from around the corner, phone raised. Say cheese. Ayanna? The hallway filled with other students, drawn by the noise. Some had their phones out, recording. Ayanna saw the trap closing. They wanted her to react, to give them more ammunition. Instead, she pushed past Tyler and helped Marcus to his feet. His eye was swelling shut, blood trickling from his nose. This isn't over, Tyler called after them as they walked away. Tell your boy to watch his back. The nurse's office was empty except for an ancient ice pack and some Band-Aids. Ayanna helped Marcus clean up, her hands shaking with rage and fear. I'm sorry, Marcus whispered, wincing as she pressed the ice pack to his eye. They jumped me when I was getting my lunch from my locker. Said they knew about the evidence we'd been collecting. Don't apologize. This isn't your fault. The vice principal appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. Mr. Reed, Ms. Johnson, care to explain this situation? Tyler Prescott and his friends attacked Marcus, Ayanna said. There are witnesses, videos. From what I understand, there was a scuffle between students. Unless Mr. Reed wants to file a formal complaint? Marcus stared at the floor. They both knew what a formal complaint would mean. More threats, more accidents, more pressure on their families. That's what I thought. The vice principal's voice was dismissive. Return to class, both of you. And Ms. Johnson, stay out of trouble. The rest of the day passed in a blur of whispers and sideways glances. During last period, a school-wide email announced that Mrs. Patel had been placed on administrative leave pending review of recent conduct, causing division within the school community. Ayanna found Ms. Patel clearing out her desk after the final bell. They can't do this, Ayanna said, watching her teacher carefully wrap a framed photo of her family. Ms. Patel's smile was sad, but determined. They can, and they have, but that doesn't make it right. She lowered her voice. Don't give up, Ayanna. The truth matters, even when it's inconvenient. That evening, Ayanna sat on her bed, staring at the boarded-up window. Marcus wasn't answering his texts again. Her mother worked late, picking up extra shifts to cover the window repair. The weight of it all, the threats, the violence, the silence of those in power, pressed down on her chest until it was hard to breathe. Maybe they should stop. Maybe the cost was too high. Her phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. The message read, Ms. Johnson, my name is Patrice Dixon, former city councilwoman. I've heard about your situation at Willoughby High. What you're facing isn't new, but that doesn't make it right. When I was your age, they tried to silence us too. But we didn't let them. You're not alone in this fight. Call me if you'd like to talk. Ayanna researched the name quickly. Photos showed an elegant black woman in her 60s, her involvement in local civil rights stretching back decades. Article after article detailed her battles against systemic racism, her advocacy for educational reform. The truth doesn't stay buried forever. A second message appeared. But it needs brave people to dig it up. You've already shown that courage. The question is, will you see it through? Ayanna looked at the boarded window, thought of Marcus's bruised face, Ms. Patel's empty classroom. Her fingers hovered over the phone's keypad, trembling slightly with the weight of the choice before her. Ayanna stared at Councilwoman Dixon's message for a long moment before hitting call. The conversation lasted nearly an hour, filling her with a renewed sense of purpose. The councilwoman's stories of past struggles and victories sparked something in Ayanna. Not just anger, but hope. The next morning, she met Marcus before school at their favorite coffee shop 2 blocks from campus. His eye was still swollen, but determination had replaced the fear in his expression. We need to be smarter about this, Ayanna said, sliding her phone across the table. "Look what Councilwoman Dixon sent me." Marcus scrolled through the detailed suggestions and legal resources. "This is gold. But Tyler's crew is getting more aggressive. We need backup. That's why we're here early." Ayanna pulled out a notebook. Time to make a real plan. They spent the next hour mapping out their strategy. Marcus, despite his injuries, grew more animated as they worked. His tech knowledge would be crucial. "We'll create a shared cloud folder," he explained, sketching a diagram. "Everyone who witnesses something can upload videos instantly. They can't delete what they can't find. And we need witnesses ready," Ayanna added. "People with phones in the right places, at the right times." Throughout the day, they quietly approached students they trusted. Elijah, still nervous but angry about Marcus's beating, agreed to help. So did Sarah from the newspaper club and Jordan from basketball. Each person they recruited knew someone else who'd been hurt by Tyler's crew. By lunch, their network had grown to 15 students, all with phones linked to the cloud folder Marcus created. They used coded messages in a private chat group to coordinate. The assembly announcement came during 6th period, a mandatory gathering about school unity and respect scheduled for Friday. Ayanna noticed Tyler and Madison exchanging looks across the classroom. After school, she overheard two of Tyler's friends in the parking lot. "Assembly's perfect," one said. "Everyone'll be there. She won't expect it." Ayanna's stomach tightened, but she forced herself to walk calmly to her car. Once inside, she messaged the group. "Friday. Assembly. Be ready." The next few days passed in a blur of preparation and tension. Marcus distributed detailed instructions about the best angles for recording and how to upload footage quickly. Their supporters positioned themselves strategically around the school, watching for signs of what Tyler might be planning. Councilwoman Dixon called each evening, offering advice and support. "Remember," she said Thursday night, "they expect you to be alone and afraid. Your unity is your strength." Friday morning dawned gray and cold. Ayanna dressed carefully in her crispest white button-up and black skirt. Her mother noticed her tension at breakfast. "Baby, what's going on?" she asked, worried lines creasing her forehead. Ayanna hugged her tight. "I'm handling it, Mom. I promise. Just trust me." At school, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation. Their supporters moved through the halls in pairs, phones charged and ready. Marcus had dark circles under his eyes from staying up late testing the cloud system one last time. "You okay?" Ayanna asked him as they headed to first period. He nodded, adjusting his new glasses. "Better than okay. Whatever they're planning, we're ready." The morning dragged. In each class, Ayanna felt Tyler's group watching her, their whispers and smirks more obvious than usual. Madison kept showing people something on her phone, generating snickers. By lunch, word had spread through their network. Tyler's crew had been gathering near the gym between classes, checking the exit routes and blind spots. They'd recruited extra friends to block certain hallways after the assembly. "They're trying to isolate you," Marcus said during their emergency meeting in the library. "Force you down specific corridors." Ayanna studied the school map they'd marked with Tyler's likely ambush points. "Then we'll make sure those corridors are covered. Every angle, every corner." Their supporters spread the word. Position phones at chest height for clearer footage. Use landscape mode. Keep backup batteries handy. Several teachers who quietly supported them agreed to accidentally delay leaving the assembly, ensuring adult witnesses nearby. The assembly was scheduled for last period. As students filed into the gymnasium, Ayanna felt the familiar pre-fight tension she knew from MMA tournaments. She breathed deeply, centering herself. Marcus squeezed her hand as they found their seats. Around the gym, their allies sat in carefully chosen spots, phones casually visible. Ayanna caught glimpses of Tyler's group, spread out near the exits, trying to look casual but vibrating with barely contained energy. The principal's speech about mutual respect and community values seemed to last forever. Ayanna barely heard it, focused on maintaining her calm, remembering her training. This wasn't about fighting, it was about justice. Finally, the principal wrapped up. Students began shifting in their seats, the usual end-of-day restlessness amplified by the electric tension in the air. Ayanna watched Tyler's friends move into position near the doors, their red Letterman jackets like warning flags. Marcus pulled out his phone, pretending to check messages. Around the gym, other phones appeared, their cameras ready to capture whatever came next. The bell rang, and students began standing, gathering their things. Ayanna took one more deep breath, straightened her shirt, and stood. Whatever Tyler had planned, she and her supporters were ready. The truth would be recorded, undeniable this time. No edited videos, no twisted narratives. Students streamed toward the exits, the noise level rising as they pushed through the doors into the hallways. Ayanna could feel the moment approaching, like the calm before a storm. As students poured out of the gym, the hallway quickly became a sea of bodies and noise. Ayanna moved with deliberate steps, her white button-up shirt a stark contrast against the crowd of casual clothes and Letterman jackets. She felt the shift in energy before she saw them. Tyler, Madison, and Connor, emerging from different directions, converging like wolves circling prey. Marcus kept pace beside her, his phone already in hand, held at chest height, just as they'd planned. Around them, other students slowed their exit, forming a growing circle of onlookers. Phones appeared everywhere, dozens of screens catching the light. Tyler stepped directly into Ayanna's path, his red varsity jacket seeming to glow under the fluorescent lights. Madison flanked him on the right, her own phone recording, while Connor moved to block any retreat. "Going somewhere," Tyler's voice carried over the crowd's murmur. Students pressed closer, sensing the confrontation building. Ayanna straightened her shoulders, keeping her breathing steady just as she did before matches. She noticed Ms. Patel's replacement lingering uncertainly in the gym doorway, clearly unsure whether to intervene. "Move, Tyler." Ayanna's voice was calm, controlled. She made no aggressive moves, remembering Councilwoman Dixon's advice about remaining clearly defensive. Connor laughed, the sound sharp and ugly. "Or what? You'll go crying to Mommy?" He stepped closer, towering over her. "Oh, wait! You can't! You'll both be homeless soon, right?" The crowd's whispers grew louder. More phones appeared, recording from different angles. Ayanna caught glimpses of their supporters positioned exactly where they'd planned, capturing everything. Madison's lip curled into a sneer. Look at her, acting all proper in her little white shirt. She reached out and gave Ayanna's shoulder a hard shove. "Think you're better than us?" Ayanna absorbed the push without retaliating, though her muscles tensed instinctively. She noticed Marcus shifting position to get a better angle, other friendly faces doing the same around the circle. Tyler moved closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous growl. "You should have stayed down the first time." He shoved her hard, making her stumble back a step. "Known your place." The racial slur that followed his words hung in the air like poison. Several students gasped. Phones shifted higher, making sure to catch every word. Connor joined in, adding his own slurs between shoves, each one harder than the last. Ayanna kept her hands visible, making no moves that could be interpreted as aggressive. Her MMA training screamed at her to defend herself, but she held back, letting the evidence build. "Fight back!" Madison taunted, her phone steady in one hand while she pushed with the other. "Show everyone what an animal you really are." Ayanna caught Marcus's eye across the circle. He gave her the smallest nod. Everything was being recorded, uploaded instantly to their secure cloud folder. Other supporters around the circle did the same. their phones capturing every angle, every word, every shove. Tyler grabbed her arm roughly, his fingers digging in. Maybe you need another lesson about respecting your betters. He yanked her forward, then shoved her back hard enough that she hit the wall. The crowd's energy shifted. What had started as typical high school drama was clearly becoming something darker. Even students who usually ignored Tyler's behavior looked uncomfortable now. "Hey, man, maybe that's enough," someone called from the crowd. Tyler's head snapped around, looking for the voice, his face flushed with anger. "Shut up!" Connor barked, moving to block anyone from interfering. "This isn't your business." Madison circled closer, her phone still recording. "What's wrong, Ayanna? Not so tough without your little tricks?" She reached out and knocked Ayanna's books from her hands, sending them scattering across the floor. Ayanna remained silent, her eyes steady, cataloging every push, every slur, every moment of escalation. She could feel her heart pounding, but kept her breathing controlled. Her back pressed against the cold wall as Tyler and his friends crowded closer. The circle of students tightened, their collective tension building. More voices murmured protests now, seeing the 3-on-1 assault for what it was. Phones shifted and moved, capturing everything from multiple angles. Tyler's frustration grew visible as Ayanna refused to fight back. He shoved her again, harder, his control slipping. "Come on!" he snarled. "Do something! Show everyone what you really are!" Ayanna met Marcus's eyes again across the crowd. His phone was steady, recording everything. Around the circle, their other supporters had perfect angles on Tyler's reddening face, on Madison's cruel smile, on Connor's threatening stance. The assault continued, each push and slur adding to the evidence they were gathering. Ayanna endured it, her martial arts training helping her stay balanced despite the increasingly violent shoves. She kept her hands visible, her posture non-threatening, making it crystal clear who the aggressors were. The crowd's unease grew palpable as Tyler and his friends showed no signs of stopping. Their taunts became more vicious, their pushes more violent, their true colors fully exposed for all to see and record. Tyler's control finally snapped. His face twisted with rage as he lunged forward, arm outstretched toward Ayanna's neck. "Let's see how you like this again," he snarled, attempting to lock her in the same chokehold from before. This time, Ayanna was ready. As his arm came around, she dropped her shoulder and shifted her weight, using his own momentum against him. Years of MMA training took over as she executed a perfect defensive throw, sending Tyler stumbling past her. "Get her!" Tyler shouted, scrambling to regain his balance. Connor charged first, his size making him overconfident. Ayanna sidestepped smoothly, using his momentum to guide him into the wall. She didn't strike, didn't need to. His own force did the work. Madison grabbed Ayanna's hair from behind, trying to pull her off balance. Ayanna trapped Madison's wrist with both hands, using a simple joint lock to make her release her grip. Madison yelped in surprise, backing away quickly. Dylan rushed in next, swinging wildly. Ayanna blocked each punch with textbook precision, her forearms deflecting his attacks while she maintained a defensive stance. The crowd gasped as Dylan's aggressive assault failed to land a single hit. "She's not even hitting back," someone shouted from the crowd. Phones captured every moment as Ayanna demonstrated perfect control, never initiating contact, only redirecting and defending. Tyler recovered and tried to grab her again, but Ayanna was fluid motion. She slipped under his grasp, using his own weight to send him stumbling into Dylan. Both boys crashed to the floor, tangling with each other. Connor made another attempt, throwing a heavy punch aimed at Ayanna's head. She ducked smoothly, letting his fist pass harmlessly overhead. As he overextended, she used his momentum to guide him off balance, sending him sprawling. Madison tried to kick Ayanna while she was focused on Connor, but Ayanna caught her leg mid-strike. With controlled pressure on Madison's ankle, she forced her to hop backward or fall, making the cheerleader look awkward and ineffective. "Stand still and fight!" Tyler shouted, getting to his feet again. His face was red with exertion and humiliation as students continued recording. "I'm not fighting," Ayanna replied calmly, maintaining her defensive stance. "I'm protecting myself." Tyler charged again, trying to tackle her to the ground. Ayanna stepped aside at the last moment, using his momentum to send him rolling across the floor. He crashed into Madison's legs, taking them both down. Connor and Dylan tried to rush her simultaneously from different angles. Ayanna moved like water between them, causing them to collide with each other instead. Their coordination fell apart as frustration and embarrassment took over. The crowd's energy had completely shifted now. What started as entertainment had become a clear demonstration of skill versus brutality. Every phone captured the stark contrast between Ayanna's controlled defense and her attacker's increasingly desperate assault. "Look at her technique," someone called out. "She's not even attacking them." Madison scrambled to her feet, trying to salvage some dignity. She swung her phone like a weapon, aiming for Ayanna's face. Ayanna caught her wrist easily, using gentle pressure to make her drop the device. It clattered to the floor, still recording. Tyler made one final reckless attempt. He rushed Ayanna from behind, trying again for the chokehold that had started everything. This time, Ayanna dropped and rolled, using his own force to flip him completely over her shoulder. He landed hard on his back, the impact driving the air from his lungs. The entire confrontation had lasted less than 2 minutes. All 4 attackers were on the ground or stumbling, while Ayanna hadn't thrown a single punch. She stood calmly, hands still raised in a defensive position, breathing steady and controlled. Security finally pushed through the crowd, far too late to see the initial assault but just in time to witness the aftermath. Students immediately began showing them their recordings, pointing out how the attack started and how Ayanna had only defended herself. "She never hit them," Marcus called out, holding up his phone. "Look at the video. They attacked her, and she just defended herself." Other students chimed in, their phones displaying clear footage of Tyler's initial assault and the slurs they'd used. The raw, unedited videos were already being shared, spreading rapidly through social media and text messages. "Check my cloud folder," one student told the security officer. "I got the whole thing, from when they first surrounded her." "I've got another angle," another added. "You can hear everything they said." The security officers separated everyone, but the truth was already spreading. Dozens of videos from different angles showed the same story. Ayanna, clearly defending herself without aggression, while Tyler and his friends attacked repeatedly without provocation. Tyler and his friends were helped to their feet, their usual confidence shattered. Madison's carefully edited version of events wouldn't work this time. Too many witnesses, too many angles, too much clear evidence of what really happened. The hallway buzzed with activity as students shared their footage, each raw video adding to the undeniable truth of what had occurred. Security radioed for administrative support, but the real story was already spreading throughout the school and beyond. The videos spread like wildfire across social media that evening. Students shared them in group chats, on Instagram, TikTok, and local Facebook groups. Each new share brought more comments, more outrage, and more support for Ayanna. Marcus coordinated the online response from his computer, making sure the unedited footage reached key community members. "Look at this," he said to Ayanna over the phone, scrolling through the reactions. The local news stations are already picking it up. By midnight, the videos had reached tens of thousands of views. Comments flooded in from across the city. "This is what real self-defense looks like. She showed amazing restraint. Those bullies finally got exposed." The next morning, Ayanna and Marcus arrived early at school to set up for their hastily organized rally. They'd worked late into the night, contacting former victims and spreading the word. A white rental truck backed up to the school's front lawn, workers unloading a large projection screen. "You sure about this?" Marcus asked, helping to position the screen. Ayanna nodded, watching as more students began arriving. Everyone needs to see the whole truth. No more hiding. By 8 o'clock, a crowd had gathered. Students, parents, and community members filled the lawn. Local news vans lined the street, cameras ready. Elijah, the former victim who'd first spoken to them, stood with several other students who'd been bullied by Tyler's group. "I can't believe this is really happening," Elijah said, his voice shaking slightly. "We tried to speak up so many times." Ayanna squeezed his shoulder. "Not anymore. Today, everyone hears us." The superintendent's car pulled up, followed by several school board members. They looked tense, uncomfortable with the media presence. Principal Carter emerged from the building, his face pale as he saw the size of the crowd. Marcus connected his laptop to the projector. The screen flickered to life, showing a compilation of videos from the previous day's attack. The crowd fell silent as Tyler's initial assault played out in high definition. "Listen to what they're saying," someone called out as the racist slurs became clearly audible. The footage continued, showing Ayanna's controlled defense from multiple angles. Her technique was even more impressive in slow motion. Each movement precise, protective, rather than aggressive. The contrast between the bully's violent attacks and her measured responses was stark. More videos followed. Security footage Marcus had obtained showing previous incidents, screenshots of threatening messages, testimonies from other victims. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. Ayanna stepped forward to address the crowd, her voice strong despite her exhaustion. "What you're seeing isn't just about yesterday," she began. "This is about years of systematic bullying, covered up and ignored because of who was doing it and who was being targeted." The crowd murmured in agreement. Phones recorded as she continued, "I train in MMA not because I want to fight, but because I needed to feel safe. Yesterday, I used those skills exactly as they're meant to be used, to protect myself without causing harm." More students joined the group behind her, including some who had previously stayed silent out of fear. "Every person standing here has a story." Ayanna gestured to them. "Every story was dismissed, every complaint buried, every victim told to just avoid trouble." The superintendent stepped forward, trying to take control of the situation. "We take these allegations very seriously." "They're not allegations anymore," Marcus interrupted, pointing to the screen. "It's all right there. Every threat, every attack, every cover-up." Parents in the crowd began calling out questions. How long had this been going on? Why weren't complaints investigated? Who was responsible for hiding the truth? Ms. Patel arrived, still technically on administrative leave, carrying a box of documents. "I have copies of every buried complaint," she announced. "Dating back 3 years." The media swarmed forward, cameras flashing. The superintendent's face turned red as reporters shouted questions about the school's handling of bullying complaints. Ayanna raised her voice again, commanding attention. "We're not here for revenge. We're here for change. Real change." She looked directly at the school officials. No more swept under the rug. No more blaming victims. No more letting money and influence decide who gets protected. The crowd erupted in applause. Even some teachers, watching nervously from the school entrance, nodded in agreement. "I used my training yesterday to defend myself without throwing a single punch," Ayanna continued. "Now, I'm asking all of you to help defend every student who comes after me. We need real policies, real consequences, real protection." More applause. The superintendent huddled with the school board members, their expressions grave as they watched more evidence play across the screen. "We will be launching a full investigation," the superintendent finally announced, his voice carrying across the lawn. "Effective immediately. All parties involved in yesterday's incident are suspended pending review, and we will be examining every complaint in Ms. Patel's records." It wasn't everything, but it was a start. Ayanna looked at Marcus, then at the growing group of supporters behind her. For the first time in weeks, she felt real hope. The media pressed closer, asking for interviews. Parents demanded immediate action. The evidence continued playing on the screen, impossible to deny or explain away. The truth was, finally, fully exposed. Over the next few days, Willoughby High transformed. The superintendent's investigation moved with unprecedented speed, driven by media pressure and community demands. Teams of district officials combed through Mrs. Patel's documents, interviewing students and staff members late into each evening. On Wednesday morning, Tyler's father resigned from the school board. His reputation in tatters after leaked emails showed his role in suppressing complaints. By afternoon, Madison's carefully edited videos from previous incidents surfaced, revealing a pattern of deliberate manipulation. "I can't believe it's all coming out," Marcus said, showing Ayanna another news article on his phone. They sat in the school library, now a makeshift command center for the investigation team. "Look, they're interviewing Connor's dad's police department about preferential treatment." Ayanna watched students passing by, noticing how differently they looked at her now. No more whispers or averted eyes. Instead, she received small nods, quiet words of support, and even a few tearful thank yous from underclassmen who'd been too afraid to speak up before. Thursday brought the first wave of official actions. The superintendent called an emergency press conference on the same lawn where Ayanna had staged her rally. Camera crews returned, their lenses focused on the podium as he cleared his throat. "Following our investigation, we are announcing several immediate personnel changes," he began. "Principal Carter and 3 administrative staff members have been terminated for their roles in systematically suppressing student complaints and enabling a culture of bullying." The crowd murmured as he continued. "Additionally, students Tyler Prescott, Madison Cole, Connor Davis, and Dylan Price are permanently expelled from Willoughby High School. Their actions, captured on video and corroborated by numerous witnesses, demonstrate a level of premeditated cruelty and racial harassment that has no place in our district." Councilwoman Dixon stood near the back, a satisfied smile on her face. She'd been working behind the scenes, pressuring the right people, making sure the investigation couldn't be derailed. When she caught Ayanna's eye, she gave a small, proud nod. Friday morning, Ayanna returned to school, her suspension officially overturned. Ms. Patel was reinstated with a formal apology and a promotion to lead a new student advocacy program. The halls felt lighter somehow, as if years of accumulated fear had finally lifted. During third period, the intercom crackled. "Ayanna Johnson, please report to the conference room." She found Councilwoman Dixon waiting with several school board members and local education officials. "Sit down, dear," Dixon said warmly. "We have something to discuss." The board's new president, Dr. Martinez, spoke first. "Ms. Johnson, your courage has forced us to confront serious failures in our system. We want to make things right." Dixon stepped forward, unfolding a document. "We're establishing the Ayanna Johnson Scholarship for Social Justice. Full tuition for students who demonstrate exceptional moral courage in standing up against discrimination and bullying." Ayanna's hands trembled as she read the details. The scholarship would help students like her attend college while continuing their advocacy work. "That's not all," Dr. Martinez added. "We're implementing a new district-wide anti-bullying policy. We're calling it Ayanna's Law." The policy was comprehensive. Mandatory reporting of all bullying incidents, protection for students who spoke up, clear consequences for offenders regardless of their family connections, and regular audits to ensure compliance. By Monday morning, the whole school gathered in the gymnasium for a special assembly. Ayanna sat in the front row between her mother and Marcus, watching as the new interim principal approached the microphone. "We're here today to right some wrongs," she began. "First, a public apology to Ayanna Johnson, whose only crime was defending herself while we failed to protect her." The apology continued, acknowledging the systemic racism and classism that had allowed the bullying to flourish. When it finished, Ayanna's mother squeezed her hand, tears in her eyes. "Additionally," the principal continued, "we're pleased to announce that Ms. Johnson has been nominated for this year's State Youth Leadership Award, and several colleges have already expressed interest in offering her additional scholarships." The applause was immediate and genuine. Students stood, many holding signs of support. Some of Tyler's former friends sat quietly in the back, their red varsity jackets conspicuously absent. Ms. Patel took the microphone next, introducing the new Student Advocacy Council. "And our first initiative," she announced, "will be a peer support program led by Ayanna, teaching students how to safely stand up against bullying and protect each other." Ayanna scanned the gymnasium, remembering how differently things had felt just a week ago. The same space where Tyler had tried to hurt her was now filled with hope and possibility. Real change had come to Willoughby High, bought with courage and persistence. The assembly continued with more announcements about new policies and programs, each designed to prevent another student from facing what Ayanna had endured. But more importantly, she saw determination in her classmates' faces, a shared commitment to maintaining this new reality they'd fought so hard to create. 3 weeks after the assembly, the Willoughby High Gymnasium buzzed with excited energy. Blue exercise mats covered the floor, and students from every grade level stretched and chatted, dressed in workout clothes. Sunlight streamed through the high windows, catching the new banner hanging on the wall. "Stand Strong, Student Self-Defense and Empowerment Program." Ayanna stood at the center mat, her hair pulled back neatly, wearing a black GI with her brown belt tied precisely at her waist. She watched as more students filed in, some nervous, others eager. The crowd was beautifully diverse, a mix of faces and backgrounds that would have been unthinkable just weeks ago. "Remember to sign in at the table," Ms. Patel called out, clipboard in hand. She wore casual clothes instead of her usual professional attire, ready to participate. Her reinstatement had come with a new title, Student Advocacy Director. The position gave her real power to support students like Ayanna. From the bleachers, Ayanna's mother watched with evident pride. She'd taken the morning off from work to attend this first session, and she wasn't alone. Other parents and teachers lined the seats, showing support for this new chapter at Willoughby High. "Okay, everyone," Ayanna called out, her voice clear and confident. "Find a spot on the mats and form a circle." The students quickly arranged themselves, some sitting cross-legged, others kneeling. Ayanna looked around at their faces, freshmen who'd barely spoken to her before, seniors who used to avoid eye contact in the halls, even a few who had once laughed at Tyler's jokes. "Self-defense isn't just about physical techniques," Ayanna began, walking slowly around the circle. "It's about knowing your worth, recognizing dangerous situations, and understanding when and how to stand up for yourself." She demonstrated a basic stance, feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent. This is where it starts, with balance. Just like in life, you need a strong foundation. The students mirrored her position. Some wobbled, others giggled nervously. Ayanna moved among them, making small corrections with gentle words of encouragement. "Now, pair up," she instructed. "We're going to practice a simple wrist grab escape. Remember, This isn't about hurting anyone. It's about protecting yourself and getting to safety. Ms. Patel joined in, partnering with a shy freshman girl who had been hanging back. Across the gym, Ayanna spotted Marcus helping a sophomore boy perfect his grip. When someone grabs you, Ayanna demonstrated with a volunteer, they're trying to control you. But you always have options. She showed the movement in slow motion, explaining each step. The sound of students practicing filled the gym, along with occasional bursts of laughter when someone got it wrong. Perfect! Ayanna praised a pair of students who executed the move cleanly. See how you didn't need strength? It's all about technique and confidence. From the bleachers, someone started clapping. Ayanna looked up to see Councilwoman Dixon had arrived, sitting next to her mother. Other observers joined the applause, making several students blush with pride. "Let's try something a little more challenging," Ayanna announced. She demonstrated a basic breakfall, showing how to fall safely. This might seem scary, but it's crucial. Sometimes life knocks you down. Knowing how to fall means you can get back up without being hurt. The gym mats thumped as students practiced, their initial hesitation giving way to determination. Ms. Patel moved through the groups, offering encouragement and sharing her own learning experience. "Remember when you first showed me this?" Ms. Patel asked Ayanna during a water break. "I was so nervous, but you made it feel natural." Ayanna smiled, remembering their private sessions after her reinstatement. "You were a quick learner." The morning continued with more techniques, each one building on the last. Ayanna made sure to include mental strategies too. How to project confidence, use your voice, and recognize when to seek help. Near the end of the session, Ayanna gathered everyone back in a circle. "Self-defense is about community too," she explained. "Look around. Every person here is learning to be stronger, not just for themselves, but for each other." The students' faces showed understanding. Many of them had witnessed the changes at Willoughby firsthand. The new policies, the shift in atmosphere, the way people looked out for each other now. "Next week, same time," Ayanna announced as students began rolling up the mats. "Bring a friend if you want. This space is open to everyone." Ms. Patel helped collect water bottles and towels, chatting with students who lingered to ask questions. Ayanna's mother came down from the bleachers, embracing her daughter with tears in her eyes. "Baby, I am so proud of you," she whispered. As the gym slowly emptied, Ayanna checked her phone. A new message popped up from an unfamiliar number. "Hey, I saw what you did for the school. There's some stuff happening at my sister's middle school. Could we talk? I hope you enjoyed that story. Please share it with your friends and subscribe so that you do not miss out on the next one. In the meantime, I have hand-picked 2 stories for you that I think you will enjoy. Have a great day."